So we're going to kind of dive into a story that's really disturbing.
Okay.
Just picture this. Christmas Eve, right? The time for family and warmth and all that.
Right.
But for a 14-year-old girl, it's a fight for survival in the freezing woods.
Wow.
And she was abandoned there by a man that she met online.
Oh, gosh.
Someone she thought was her friend.
Okay.
It's a chilling reminder, isn't it?
Yes, very much so.
Of the dark side of the digital world.
Especially for young people.
Especially for young people, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's, I think, particularly unsettling is how the predator, 32-year-old Michael Harris, he used the trust and the goodwill of the holiday season to his advantage.
Yeah.
You know, you hear about online predators, but what strikes me about this case is how Harris was seen by his community as just a regular guy.
Right.
A neighbor, someone who blended in.
Totally.
Which makes this even more disturbing. Could you tell us more about how he was able to deceive this young girl?
Absolutely. So he used a very common tactic called grooming.
Okay.
Essentially building a relationship with the victim to gain their trust.
Gotcha.
He portrayed himself as a caring friend on social media.
Right.
Someone who understood her struggles and what she was going through.
I see.
He offered a listening ear, a safe space to vent, and slowly manipulated the situation to his advantage.
It's scary how easily someone can create that kind of false persona online.
Very true.
And didn't he also promise her an escape from her stressful life?
Yes.
Almost like a holiday adventure.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He lured her with his promise of a fun getaway on December 23rd.
Okay.
What teenager wouldn't be drawn to that idea?
Right.
Especially during the holidays when, family dynamics can be challenging.
Yeah.
He preyed on her vulnerability, knowing that a teenager might be more likely to seek escape and connection online.
So she agreed to meet him thinking she was meeting a friend.
Exactly.
Then what happened?
So Harris drove her to a remote wooded area.
Oh, wow.
And basically just left her there.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine the sheer terror of that moment?
I can't.
Being abandoned in the middle of nowhere as night falls, the temperature plummeting.
And we know it was bitterly cold that night.
Oh, yeah.
Did she have any supplies? Any way to contact anyone?
She had a dying phone battery.
Oh, no.
But that was it.
So she was completely unprepared.
Completely unprepared for those kind of conditions.
Wow.
But despite the fear and the cold, she somehow found the strength to survive.
That's incredible.
It is.
To be that young and facing such a terrifying situation, yet still have the presence of mind to think clearly and seek shelter.
Right.
It really speaks volumes about her resilience.
It does.
Are there any specific survival tactics that she used or we could share with our listeners?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It would be helpful to learn more about what she did to survive.
Right.
Did you remember any tips from school?
Yeah.
Or scouting? Or even just things she'd seen on TV?
Sure.
It's a good reminder that even basic survival knowledge can make a difference in a crisis.
For sure.
But beyond the practical skills, her story is also a testament to the power of the human spirit.
I agree.
To endure even the most unthinkable hardships.
It really is.
Yeah.
So while she was fighting for survival in those freezing woods, what was Harris doing?
You're not going to believe this.
Okay.
He went back home and celebrated Christmas Eve with his family.
What?
A warm house presents a festive meal.
Wow.
The stark contrast is chilling.
Wait, so he was enjoying the holidays with his family.
Yes.
While this girl was out there alone.
Right.
Facing a life or death situation because of him.
Exactly.
That's just incomprehensible.
It is.
It suggests a profound lack of empathy.
Yes.
A disturbing detachment from reality.
Absolutely.
And it makes you wonder how someone can compartmentalize their life like that.
Yeah.
How can someone be capable of such calculated cruelty while simultaneously presenting a facade of normalcy?
It's a question that psychologists and criminologists grapple with all the time.
Are there any insights from their research that shed light on the psychology of predators like Harris?
Well, there's a whole field of study dedicated to understanding the motivations and behaviors of predators.
Right.
Some experts believe it stems from a need for power and control.
Okay.
While others point to deep-seated psychological issues.
And in this case, the fact that he was able to maintain this double life, this charming persona, makes it even more disturbing.
Good boy.
His neighbors described him as friendly, someone who seemed perfectly normal.
Right.
It really highlights the danger of judging a book by its cover.
It does.
It's a stark reminder that predators often hide in plain sight,
Yeah,
blending seamlessly into our communities.
absolutely.
And that's what makes this story so important for our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about online safety.
Right.
It's about understanding that danger can lurk where we least expect it. It's exactly.
Yeah, it's a chilling thought.
It really does underscore the need for vigilance and awareness,
Right.
both online and offline.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the girl's story.
Okay.
We left off with her finding refuge in that hunting cabin.
Right.
How was she eventually found?
Thankfully, a massive search effort was launched on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
Authorities, volunteers, even sniffer dogs.
Really?
Everyone was desperately looking for her.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine the relief when they finally discovered her on Christmas morning.
It really does feel like a Christmas miracle.
It does.
But finding her was just the first step, right?
Right.
What about the investigation into Harris?
Yeah.
How were they able to connect him to her disappearance?
That's where the concept of digital footprints comes in.
Okay.
You see, every interaction we have online,
Right.
every message, every post leaves a trace.
Gotcha.
And in this case, the girl's social media messages were crucial in leading investigators to Harris.
Okay, but wouldn't that require accessing her private messages? Isn't that a privacy concern?
That's a valid question.
Yeah.
And it's a very complex issue.
Sure.
Balancing privacy and safety in the digital age is a constant challenge.
Right.
But in this case, with a young girl's life at stake,
Yeah.
investigators were able to obtain the necessary warrants to access her online activity.
I see.
And those messages, along with other digital evidence,
Okay.
painted a clear picture of Harris's involvement.
So they were able to use these digital footprints to build a case against him.
Exactly.
What happened next?
Investigators literally interrupted Harris's Christmas celebration to make the arrest.
Wow.
Think about that.
Okay.
He was at home, surrounded by family, probably opening presents,
Really?
when the reality of his actions came crashing down.
Wow. That must have been a shock to his family and the community.
Absolutely.
To go from celebrating Christmas to having their world turned upside down like that?
Right.
I can't even imagine the disbelief and confusion they must have felt.
It shatters your sense of security, your trust in the people you know.
Right.
This case had a ripple effect throughout the community.
Uh-huh.
It forced people to confront the uncomfortable truth that predators can exist even in seemingly safe and familiar environments.
And it also highlights the importance of having those difficult conversations with our children about online safety.
Yeah.
It's not about being overprotective or invasive.
Right.
It's about empowering them to be discerning digital citizens.
Right.
Teaching them to recognize red flags and to seek help if they encounter something that feels wrong.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We need to equip young people with the knowledge and skills to navigate the digital world safely and responsibly. And we need to foster a culture of open communication
Right.
where they feel comfortable talking to trusted adults about their online experiences.
The girls' parents have been vocal about this, haven't they?
They have.
Yeah.
They've turned their pain into advocacy,
I see.
urging other families to be proactive about online safety.
Right.
They're sharing their story to prevent other families from enduring a similar nightmare.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
And it's a call to action for all of us.
Right.
Parents, educators, community members.
Absolutely.
We need to work together to create a safer online environment for young people.
Yeah.
But while we focus on prevention,
Yeah.
it's crucial to remember that victims of online predators need support too.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the road to recovery for this young girl.
Okay.
She survived the physical ordeal,
Right.
but the emotional scars must run deep.
Of course.
The betrayal, the fear, the trauma.
Yeah.
How can we support survivors like her?
Trauma recovery is a journey,
Sure.
and it's different for everyone.
Right.
It takes time, patience, and a lot of support.
But what does that support look like?
It can involve therapy, counseling, support groups,
Okay.
anything that helps the survivor process the trauma and rebuild their life.
And it's not just about professional help, is it?
No.
The support of family and friends is crucial too. Right. Creating a safe and loving environment where they feel heard, believed, and understood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about letting them know they're not alone,
Uh-huh.
that healing is possible.
Right.
This young girl has shown incredible resilience,
She has.
but she has a long road ahead of her.
I imagine.
And we as a society have a responsibility to ensure she and others like her have the resources and support they need to heal.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
The chilling details of the crime,
Yeah.
the investigation, the impact on the community,
Right.
the importance of online safety,
Yeah.
and the long journey of healing for the victim.
Right.
But as we move towards the end of this deep dive,
Okay.
I keep coming back to one question.
Okay.
What does this all mean?
Right.
What lessons can we take away from this harrowing story?
Yeah, it really does kind of stay with you.
It does. And for me, it highlights the fact that we can't just talk about online safety, you know,
Right.
in a vacuum. This case is a stark reminder that online threats have real-world consequences.
You're absolutely right. The digital world is no longer separate from our everyday lives.
Right.
It's interwoven into every aspect of our existence.
It is.
And that means that the dangers that lurk online can spill over into our homes, our communities,
Right.
our very lives.
Yeah. This girl's story is a wake-up call, not just for parents and educators, but for all of us.
Absolutely.
We need to be more aware, more vigilant, and more proactive in protecting ourselves and our loved ones.
But it's not just about being fearful or reactive.
Right.
It's about empowerment. It's about equipping ourselves and our children with the knowledge and skills to navigate the digital world safely and responsibly.
And that includes being able to recognize the signs of grooming,
Yes.
understanding how to set boundaries online,
Right.
and knowing what to do if something feels wrong.
Exactly.
We need to create a culture where young people feel comfortable talking to trusted adults about their online experiences, both good and bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to move beyond that stranger danger narrative
Yeah.
and recognize that online predators often use manipulation and deception to gain trust.
Right.
They might pretend to be someone they're not,
Sure.
exploit vulnerabilities, or use emotional blackmail to control their victims.
So what practical steps can parents and educators take? It feels overwhelming, to be honest.
I understand why you'd feel that way.
Yeah.
But even small steps can make a big difference.
Okay.
Start by having open conversations with your children about online safety. Talk about the potential risks, but also emphasize the positive aspects of the internet.
I like that focusing on balance. We don't want to scare kids away from technology altogether.
Right.
It's about teaching them to be savvy and discerning digital citizens.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about monitoring or restricting their online activity. It's about building trust, fostering critical thinking skills, and encouraging them to come to you if they encounter anything disturbing or confusing.
So open communication is key. But are there any tools or resources that can help parents navigate this complex landscape?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are many organizations dedicated to online safety that offer valuable information and support.
Okay.
For example, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has a wealth of resources, including tips for parents, educators, and law enforcement.
Oh, wow.
And Common Sense Media provides excellent reviews and ratings for websites, apps, and games, helping parents make informed decisions about what their kids are accessing.
These are great resources that I'm sure our listeners will find helpful.
I hope so.
And I think it's important to remember that online safety isn't just a one-time conversation, it's an ongoing process.
We're right.
Technology is constantly evolving, and so are the threats.
It's a dynamic landscape, and we need to stay informed and adaptable.
We do.
But I think this case also reminds us of the importance of community.
Uh-huh.
It was the collective effort of law enforcement volunteers and concerned citizens that ultimately led to the girl's rescue.
It's a powerful testament to what can happen when people come together, when we look out for one another.
Yeah.
Even in the darkest of times, hope can emerge from the most unexpected places.
And speaking of hope, this girl's survival, her incredible resilience in the face of unimaginable terror, is a testament to the strength of the human spirit.
It is.
She fought to stay alive, she sought shelter, she never gave up.
It's a story that breaks your heart, but it's also a story of courage, determination, and the will to survive.
It really is.
And while we celebrate her strength, let's not forget that she and other survivors of online exploitation need ongoing support and understanding.
Yeah.
Trauma recovery is a long and challenging journey, and it's crucial that we provide the resources and care they need to heal and rebuild their lives.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a mix of emotions.
Okay.
Sadness, anger, but also a sense of hope.
I see.
Hope that by shedding light on this dark subject, by sharing this story and these resources, we can help prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future.
I share that hope. If even one listener takes away a valuable lesson from this conversation, if one parent feels empowered to have that crucial conversation about online safety with their child, then this deep dive has served its purpose.
Well said. Let's all do our part to create a safer world, both online and offline, where every child can thrive. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.